how's it going? This is Hoiman, and now I'm currently walking on the path towards my grandparents' village, and this is to go go to attend the ceremony for my uncle, basically. So it's basically to guide his spirit back home to his parents so that he knows the way back and forth between his homes. So that's from what I understand anyway. I've never been to one of these kind of ceremonies before, so overall I don't really know what to expect, but I suppose it will be probably quite emotional. But yeah, right after the ceremony then I'm gonna have to head back to the hotel, pick up luggage, and then head for the airport. So it's definitely going to be a busy day today. So yeah, hopefully it goes well. And it's also going to be I don't know for how long, but it's going to be quite a while for this to be my last time in this village. So I have no idea when I'll be back here. So at the same time, it's kind of almost like saying a bit of a farewell to this place as well. But I guess it is what it is. Well, we've just finished off the ceremony, and yeah, it was quite the display. So basically included a lot of praying, a lot of folding money paper into the shape of money to burn, and yeah, it's definitely very cultural, and it took about 4 hours. So now that it's done, we're leaving the village. So yeah, quite emotional. Gonna be leaving this village, which I consider like a second home, for who knows how long now. And yeah, it's definitely emotional and a bit sad to leave this place, but it's just how it is, I suppose. So now it's pretty much just on the way to probably have some lunch and then make our way to the airport and get ready to depart for the UK. So yeah, my time in my visit in Hong Kong this time is pretty much over now. So yeah, now it's pretty much just have lunch, back to the airport, and then head to the UK. So something I forgot to mention about that ceremony, and it kind of surprises me how I could forget such a detail, but during the ceremony, while the master was basically performing a ritual and a chant to basically guide my uncle's spirit back home to his village, as he was doing so, me, my mum, and some other family members were basically folding money, paper that means money, and we were folding it to make it look like gold pieces, basically. And we were just outside doing that, and we could hear the master performing a ritual inside the temple. But as we were outside folding the money, a black butterfly that I've actually never seen before, like, it was almost completely pure black, like all its wings were pure black, but it did have very slight patterns of like a very metallic blue on its wings. It was actually very beautiful. But as we were folding paper and a ritual was happening, a single black butterfly did actually fly, just suddenly appeared before us. And basically, it flew up, my uncle pointed it out, and then we all looked, and then it was just kind of flying and hovering in space for like a few seconds, and then we were just all staring at it. And then it flew to my uncle, kind of levitated in front of him for a bit, and then it flew to me, kind of did a circle around me, then it went to my cousin, and then it went to the widow of my uncle, and then it went to my mom, and then other members of the family, and then it flew away. And then we were all just like smiling. And then to me, that was like a very special moment, because the way I kind of processed that event was that in a way, my uncle has either been reincarnated as a butterfly, or his soul was reborn as a butterfly. And because the ritual was calling out to him to guide him back home, it was almost like that butterfly heard the calling and then flew to the village, and then kind of flew in front of us, flew to each of us, circled around a couple of us, as if it was trying to tell us that that was my uncle reborn, and he's basically letting us know that he's heard the calling, that's why he's come here, and he's kind of flying to each of us to kind of say, in a way, say hello, and then also let us know, without words, but let us know kind of mentally that our uncle has really come back home, and he's just letting us know that he's here. And that was just a very magical moment. Like this is like the first ceremony I've ever been to for these kinds of events, and to actually just have this butterfly that I've never seen, like not in that kind of type, just pure black, almost pure black wings with slight blue pattern, and just a single one as well. And the fact that it wasn't afraid of us either, like it flew up, flew very close to us. Even my uncle held his hand out to it, and the butterfly kind of just circled around his hand and then around him, and then moved on to the next person. And it was like, yeah, it was such a magical moment. And then once the first part of ritual stopped and the master kind of took a break, we continued folding paper, and then folding paper into money, and then nothing really major happened then. But then with the second part of the ceremony, when the master started performing the ritual, the next part of it, and calling again, that same butterfly actually came back. And then this time it actually just came up to us, flapped its wings, levitated, kind of went very close to our faces, and then again kind of circled around us, some of us a few times. And yeah, it just kind of, in a way, it felt like it was just going by each of us, giving us a message, and then flew off again. And it's like, yeah, it's just a very magical moment. Like, to me, it was like that that's possibly my uncle there, reborn as a butterfly. He heard the calling, so came back, and then also telling us that it's him reborn, and he's just basically telling us that he's home. And it's hard to explain, but it does definitely sound unreal just talking about it like this. But it's one of those things where you kind of have to be there to really believe it. And usually I'd say I'm kind of agnostic mostly in a way. Not and I wouldn't say I'm purely skeptical, but actually seeing this during the first ceremony I've been to and having this happen, it's like, yeah, it was just a very surreal and magical moment. And it definitely made all of us smile. And I think that's because not just me, but everyone who was there kind of feels the same as I do. So it was just like, yeah, it was very cool. It's probably like the best way to describe it. Very cool, surreal, and magical. And then once the whole ritual concluded, we never saw that butterfly ever again. Like, it didn't fly past us again. We didn't see it anywhere. It was just, as soon as the ritual was done, the butterfly disappeared. And it was as if, like, because the ritual is about guiding our uncle back home and then also guiding him back to be with his parents, so my grandma and granddad. Once that was concluded and the butterfly was nowhere to be seen anymore, it is almost as if the ritual really succeeded. And because it was concluded, the butterfly is kind of like gone on its journey to where it needs to go. So it's just, it was a very magical moment, very surreal. And yeah, after going through like the news of his passing and then the difficult day of the funeral, and then doing the ceremony part was kind of like the final part, which was difficult as well. But going through all that and then having that butterfly appear really does just kind of make it feel like it has like a happy ending to the whole thing. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, it's like, yeah, obviously our uncle passing is sad, but then in the end, to have a butterfly appear as if he's been reborn is just it's a very uplifting moment, I guess you could say. And it was just very special, very magical. And like I already said, it's one of those things where you have to be there to experience it and know just how surreal it was. And the weird thing is, when I was talking to my mum about this last night, my mum is probably more of a believer in these kind of things than I am. But she actually told me that when my granddad passed away about 9-10 years ago now. She went back to the village. So she went back to Hong Kong to basically attend the funeral and stuff. And she was telling me how... So basically, after the funeral concluded, to get to that village, you have to walk across a road that's probably about a 10-minute walk from the main street to get to the actual village. And my mum was telling me how when she got off the taxi and started walking home, there was a butterfly that just kept following her. Like, it kind of, she said it was following her, circled around her many times, even kind of lingered just above her head. And my mum was saying that happened all the way along the road and pretty much to my grandparents' house. And my mum believes that butterfly that was following her was my granddad reborn, and it was just kind of following her, letting her know who it is, and kind of basically without words communicating with her. And not just that, but when my grandma passed about 4 years ago now, my mum again went to Hong Kong to do the funeral stuff. And I think she was saying for the first part, there was a single bee that kind of flew in and kind of circled around her and went to other members who attended. And then a different day later, they performed the second part of the funeral. And then apparently apparently, from what my mum says, it was perhaps the same bee. And it was just a single bee again. And then they came up to them, circled around her, and basically did what that butterfly did to us. That's from what my mum told me. So my mum believes that that bee is probably my grandma reborn, and just kind of without words just trying to communicate to let my mum know who it is. And now with the butterfly, it's like this is like 3 times it's happened, and it's like, man, it's just so surreal and so magical at the same time. Like, if I didn't experience this ceremony and my mom told me those 2 stories, I'll probably be like, oh, that's quite a coincidence and that's kind of cool, but probably be a bit skeptical. But now that I've actually been to the ceremony and actually saw it in person with my uncle, it's like, I think there's something more to this. Like, I'm not sure which religion it was, but I did hear that there is a culture that believes that people get reborn as ants. But who's to say that maybe people can be reborn as like butterflies or bees and stuff, or any other like living life form, I suppose. But the fact that it's happened 3 times is like, it's like I said, I think there's something more to this, and it's just, like, I say it's magical and cool, but at the same time it is a bit creepy as well, but in a good way. But yeah, I just wanted to share that and express my feelings towards it. And overall, I'm very glad I attended this ceremony. Like, this was definitely something I didn't want to miss. I wanted to attend for my uncle and also just to experience and understand my Chinese culture a bit more. And yeah, I definitely am glad that I attended the ceremony. But yeah, very magical. But yeah, moving on now. I'm sure you noticed that my background, I'm obviously back home. So pretty much right after the ritual, we just had to go for lunch and then it was off to the airport. So I've now been back home for about 2 days. And the first thing was definitely coming back to UK was definitely feeling the cold. Like it is just so cold here right now. But coming back to the UK wasn't really that smooth though. Like the plane itself wasn't that great. The seats were not comfortable. And then when we actually got to the UK, we spent an hour just waiting for our luggage to appear. Like at first it came really quickly, and then we just spent like the next 50 minutes just standing there waiting, and then they never showed up. So all in all, 3 luggages were missing. So my mum and her sister went to inquire about it, and then gave them the number, and then they tracked them, and supposedly during the exchange they made a mix up. So from what I can tell is that some of them were still in Zurich where we exchanged, and some of them were like in the UK somewhere else. So it's like, ugh, they, they just, the staff working for that company just messed up our luggage transfer. So we had to come home with 3 less luggages. And to make things worse is that because Hong Kong is warm, we obviously dressed like not in too much clothing to journey back home. But coming to the UK, it's super cold. And the ironic thing is that I have a coat ready to pull out the luggage to wear when I get to UK. But the thing is, the coat is in that one luggage that was missing. So me and my mum were missing 1 luggage while my cousin was missing 2. And our 1 luggage just happened to have the one that contains my coat. So you can guess what happened next. So basically we had to leave the airport, and I was wearing nothing but just a shirt basically, and I was just shivering. Like my mum lent me some of her clothes, but obviously it doesn't fit me, and then it wasn't enough, so I was just shivering once I left the airport and had to basically run to the taxi. And then yeah, it was not a fun time. Like I was just so cold. Yeah, not a fun time at all. But today I did actually get a message from my cousin basically saying they have located the luggage. So that was about midday today. So my mum's actually already collected it now. So I've got my coat back, and my mum's got her many things back as well. But yeah, it was just not the smoothest ride back home, unfortunately. And definitely being outside in that severe temperature in just a shirt was not fun. I mean, fortunately, the distance from the airport to the taxi wasn't too far, so at least that's something. But still, it's like the company running the plane that I was on just messed up basically. But yeah, not the smoothest return home. But I am glad to be back home now. Like, just being in my own home, sleeping in my own bed, surrounded by my possessions, you know, it just makes you feel more safe and secure, and just makes you feel at home, I guess. So at least that's something. But yeah, that's pretty much the update for now. So yeah, very magical moment at the ceremony, but coming back to the UK wasn't the smoothest ride. So I guess that's pretty much it for this week, so hopefully I'll see you next Saturday. That's it for this video. My name is Hoiman, and please consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. And remember, always look forward, keep hope alive, and remember, you're somebody.